What's up everyone and welcome back to the FIFA 19 Pro Clips video. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys some of the best formations that I recommend to use in FIFA 19 Pro Clips, from using two players all the way to using a full 11 or going into competitively Pro Clips. Now, of course, guys, if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more FIFA 19 content. And also, don't forget, if you enjoyed this video or you find it helpful, make sure you guys smash the thumbs up. Let's try to reach 50 likes in this video, and that will be much appreciated. But nonetheless, let's jump right into this video and dig into the formations to use to be more effective in Pro Clips. First things first, guys, before we even jump into the formation, I want to give you guys a tip that a lot of teams don't seem to understand, or a lot of players don't seem to understand. And that tip is, if you want to have if you want to be successful in Pro Clubs in winning games, as well as using a formation effectively, you really need to understand the personnel you have. What do I mean by personnel? That means what type of players you have. Where are they good at? What they're not good at? Are they good at playing wide? Are they good at playing central? Are there more? Do you have more defenders? You have more attackers? You have more midfield? So forth and so on. And a good example I could give you guys is, let's say you're trying to get your team to play more central, playing more formation that's more connected, like the full 1-2-1-2 narrow. And you on your team, you have two players that play wide though. They're wingers, and you try to bring them into that 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, and they become center mids. They still might be good at the center mid position, but because they are wingers, if you use a wide formation, it's going to make them more effective, and it's going to make your team more effective, and at the end of the day, it will make you win a lot more games because of that. Now, here we are in the lobby, guys. Obviously, if you want to change formation, you have to be the captain, so jump into the lobby first. You will be able to change formation. Just go to the formation tab. So, of course, guys, we're going to go with 2 players, and then we're going to go all the way to 11 players and give you guys some of the formation and tips and tricks to use to win more games in Pro Clubs with the right formation. Now, first tip I'm going to give you guys right off the bat, before we even jump into the formation to use with the 2 players, is if you want to win more games, please make sure you guys play with an any. Especially if you're playing with less than 11 players, or low man, or some people guys call it smalls. Let me know in the comment section, what do you guys call whenever you're playing with 11 players? Do you guys call it low man? Do you guys call it smalls? What is the terminology you guys use to call whenever you're playing less with 11 players? But again, the tip that I can give you guys when you're playing with less than 11 players is use an any. I know some people will say, oh, it's not realistic using an any in Pro Clubs. Believe me, if you want to win more games, computer's not going to be defending that well. Computers make a lot of errors. Using an any, especially if that any is a foot player, because any's most of the time, they are very good defensively, but they can also be good offensively. And at the same time, they understand the game and they have a high IQ. So using an any will help you a lot. So I'll be referencing a lot of that in this video, using an any, and stuff like that. But with 2 players, guys, the best formation that I recommend you guys to use when you're playing with 2 players is the 4-1-2-1-2 formation, because of the fact that this formation kind of gives you numbers in the midfield, as well as it gives you numbers to attack if you're not playing with an any. If you're playing with an any, a lot of players use this formation very well. But again, if you want to be effective with formation, understand the players that you have. If you don't have 2 strikers, then you might want to switch to a formation that has 1 striker, maybe using the 4-2-3-1 formation. But if you have 2 strikers and both of you guys play striker, then go ahead and use the 4-1-2-1-2. This is a formation that works in most situations, in most whatever amount of players you have. It's very, very effective. You can have one player go striker, the other one goes any as a striker, or the other one goes any as a cam, or the other one just goes striker. If it's very effective. But if you only have 1 striker, you might want to play a formation with only 1 striker. The next, we're gonna go with 3 players. I will stick to with 3 players. I will stick to the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow formation, and the reason for that is, it gives you, again, a lot of numbers on the midfield. You're not playing with a lot of players. If you're playing with an any, this will help you out a lot, because you have numbers on the midfield. You have 4 back to defend and stuff like that. That will help you out. And again, if you want to set this up correctly, you can go 2 striker and a cam, or you can go 2 strikers and a CDM. You can go a striker, a cam, and a CDM. If you don't have 2 strikers, switching to a formation that has only 1 striker, like the 4-2-3-1 narrow, will help you out massively, because then you have 3 cams and you have 2 CDMs if you want to use that CDM rule. But again, with this formation, we're using 1 striker formation. That striker will have to be more of a target man, hold up play, be more effective in that type of nonsense. So it might come to as a surprise if you don't have 2 strikers, to change the formation to 1 striker to kind of help you out a little bit. But again, we're going to go to 4 players. What should you use with 4 players? Again, we're going to go back to the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, because of the fact it's the most basic formation you can use to be effective in Pro Clubs, because your midfield has a lot of numbers. You can play 2 strikers, 1 cam, 1 CDM. That's obviously what I recommend if you're playing 4 players. Play with 2 strikers, 1 cam, 1 CDM will help you massively. But again, if you don't have 2 striker, switch to that 1 striker formation. The 4-2-3-1 will help you out a lot. Obviously, if you have goalkeeper and you don't have that CDM, play with the goalkeeper. Whatever it is, your personnel that you have, use that. But again, this formation will work with no matter what personnel you have. Unless you have left mid, right mid, then maybe you want to go with the wide formation. But the one thing with the wide formation, I don't like using it because there's a lot of gaps in the midfield. Because especially with your left mid, right mid, if they don't come back and defend and kind of push in the middle of the park, you legit have the midfield really isolated for the CDM. The CDM is going to have to be running a lot, and this might not be the best formation to use. But again, if you have a wider players, maybe you want to use this. It might help you a lot. But again, you might want to tell those players to come in inside and help out defensively because the middle of the park is going to be open. And usually winning games comes out to who plays better in that midfield, winning that midfield battle. So that's why I recommend using the 4-1-2-1-2 formation with 4 players as well. Now, using 5 players, the 4-1-2-1-2 formation is very useful as well because you can use 2 striker, 1 cam, 1 CDM, and a center mid, or you can use 2 strikers, 1 cam, 1 CDM, and a goalkeeper, or excuse me, or even a center back. That will be very useful. But again, the use of using an Annie is even more useful with when you have 4 or 5 players because of the fact that you can have the Annie go as a cam. You have 2 striker, the Annie is a cam, and then you are using the CDM. And obviously, we all know about the cam glitch. So using this formation, you're gonna have the cam glitch. So try to move around until they patch this. But this formation is useful. The 4-1-2-1-2 narrow formation is very useful, whatever number you have, because of the fact that you have a lot of players in the midfield. But again, if you only have 1 striker, switching to the 4-2-3-1 formation will help you out a lot. And also, if you're playing 5 players, you might have more offensive players. So one of the formations that I recommend you guys trying out is maybe trying out the 4-3-3 holding, and this is a formation that Barcelona uses. So let's say you have wingers and you have 2 wingers and a striker, then go ahead and switch in this. When you have 5 players, this will be very useful. Whenever you start reaching 5, 6, 7 players, the 4-3-3 formations, the attack, the holding, or the defending formation become very effective. So this is a formation that I recommend using 6, 7 players because of the fact that you can have wide players, you can use the attack to have more numbers going forward. And this is a formation that you might not need to use in any as much, but again, if you have 6, 7 players, using this formation can be effective because you have wingers to help you out, you have a striker, you have a cam to kind of attack. But if you want to be more defensive, you can just switch to the 4-2-3 holding, which is more of a Barcelona play style, and also Man City uses this. So this can become very, very effective on that term. Now, using 8 players, again, I recommend you guys trying out the 4-2-3s. You have the attack, you have the defending, you even have the flat, which is kind of like the same thing as holding. You just don't have a CDM. But the 4-2-3 attack, the second you start hitting 5, the 4-2-3, the second you start hitting 5, 6, 7 players, 8 players, you can start using this formation to be more effective if you have more offensive players. Now, if you have more defensive players, then maybe you want to go back and use the 4-1-2-1-2 formation, or even using the 4-2-3-1 formation to be more effective in that sense if you only have 1 striker. But in most cases, you don't really have 1 striker, so using the 4-2-3 attack, the 4-2-3 holding, the 4-2-3 defending will be very effective if you have a lot of players that don't play defense. But obviously, going to 8, 9 players, the 4-1-2-1-2, the 4-2-3 are the formations that I really recommend. But again, if you only have 1 striker and that striker is very good holding up play, using the 4-2-3-1 is going to still be effective. But going into 8, 9 players, using the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, again, will be effective because of the fact that you can play 2 strikers, a cam, and then you could play the whole midfield. So right there, you already have 6 players, and then you still have 2 more positions, so you can play 2 center back, which will help you out a lot. So a lot of the case, if you want to be effective in pro clubs, you need to fill the middle of the park a lot, and then the wide as you go on. Don't really focus on the wide positions a lot. Try to focus in the middle of the park first, and then go ahead and doing the wide formation. That's why we did the 2 strikers, the cam, the CDM, and then go into the CMs and then come back. But that's kind of what you should do. And when you have 9 players, the same thing. Do the attack, play 2 strikers, 1 cam, the 2 center mids and the CDM, and then using the 2 back, the 2 CBs, and then going back and putting a goalkeeper in that. Or you can use the left back, but again, having that goalkeeper is going to be useful. But again, the 4-1-2-1-2 or the 4-3-3 after you reach 5, 6, 7 players, even 8 players will be effective. Now, the second you start going into 10, 11 players, when you're becoming more competitively, The 4-1-2-1-2 is one of the formation that a lot of people use in competitively, and then obviously the 4-2-3-1. A lot of people use this as well in competitive in 10, 11 players. This is where you can go and you can use pretty much striker, lamb, the whole cam, the CDMs, and you pretty much have everybody except maybe a left back or a right back, and then you have a goalkeeper because obviously you're playing with more players, so you should have that goalkeeper to help you out a little bit. And also you can use the 4-3-3, one of the 4-3-3. Usually when we're playing, when you're using 10 players, 11 players, you see a lot of teams going with the attack formations, the 4-3 attack, or even the 4-3 holding with 10 players, because you have more of a variety to attack. Barcelona again and Man City use this formation, so it gives you guys more help to go forward. And then when you're using the full 11, there's a couple of formations that a lot of the top teams use. The 4-3, the 4-3 is a formation that a lot of the top teams use to be more effective going forward, but also a formation that a lot of people don't seem to use a lot that is very effective and some of the best teams use is the 3-5-2. And the reason for this is probably the biggest formation you can use when it comes to competitive 11v11 or even 10 players. You can use this, but with 11 players, that is where you don't have to play really with any unless you're playing a competitive and you're forced to. But with this formation, what you could do with this is you can have 3 solid CBs. You need really 3 very good CBs to play this formation. Don't put a left back or a natural left back or right back in there, because they're gonna have the temptation of drifting wide, and that will cause your team a lot of issue in the middle of the park. But have 3 good CBs, and then the left mid and right mid are wide players or wingers, but they also could be left back, right back on this, because they can come back and make it a back 5 on defense, and then on attack, they actually can join the attack. This is probably the biggest formation you can use when it comes to 11v11 competitively, because you can use the left mid, right mid as attackers, and you can also use them as defenders to kind of help you out. This is the formation, very useful formation for tiki-taka, very useful formation for counter-attack, so it kind of gives you a balance when you're playing 10, 11 players to use this formation a little bit more. And also, the 4-3-3 hold-in formation is very effective as well if you have good wingers, good dribblers to help you out. But obviously with the 11v11, you can also use the 4-1-2-1-2 now. The 4-1-2 now or 1-2 now is a formation you can pretty much use with any numbers, and you'll be effective with it as long as you have the personnel for it. But again, guys, that is pretty much it for this video. I know it was a long video and I was talking a lot. If you guys had to pause the video, I apologize. But of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash the thumbs up. If you guys want to watch more FIFA 19 and Pro Clubs content in the future, make sure you guys subscribe for more of that, and we will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.